You know, what seems like just a short year ago, video interviews were primarily used as a human resources screen deciding whether to bring candidates on site for a real in-person interview. Well, today, many companies have done away with in-person interviews completely and are using video interviews as their sole basis for hiring decisions. So if you're looking for a job today, then you better get good at video interviews. And one of the best ways to get good at interviews is learn some of the things not to do. By the way, if this is your first time here, my name is Chris. This is the Office Survival Guide. You may know me as a YouTuber, but I've conducted hundreds of interviews in my day job, and many of those recently have been over video, and I've seen a lot of mistakes. So let's get right into it. The first thing you shouldn't do on an interview is don't be backlit. The biggest mistake I see people make is they put a window right behind them and they put the camera right here. When the window is behind you, people can't see you. It's a video interview. And so one of the most important things on a video interview is that you are well lit at the front of your face. Ideally, you want the light to be behind your camera. So one of the best places to put the window is not behind you, but the best place to put the window is behind the camera so that the sunlight comes on your face. The second don't is don't be at a weird camera angle. What do I mean by a weird camera angle? Well, the biggest mistake that people often make on a video interview is if they've got a laptop, they often put it much too low. And so when it's too low, the interviewer is looking up at your nose like this. The other thing you don't want to do is you don't just want to be a tiny head at the bottom. You also don't just want to be entirely ahead. This is a little bit too close. Ideally, you kind of want this middle torso look. It's the most natural middle torso so you can have your hands so people can see your hands moving on the video interview. Now, if you're using your phone to do the video interview instead of a computer, well, you don't want to hand hold your phone the whole time. You'll want to put your phone on some kind of phone holder so that it's steady, because otherwise the interviewer is going to get sick with your phone doing this for a half hour. The third don't for video interviews is don't look in a weird direction. What do I mean by a weird direction? I mean something like this is a weird direction. And it's something that people often do on video interviews because they often have their camera perhaps in a different place than the interviewer that they're looking at. And so you want to make sure that those things are as close together as possible. So if you're using a webcam or something, make sure it's right on top of your monitor. And when you're talking to the interviewer, don't look at them on the screen, which means you'll end up looking down. Instead, when you're delivering your answer, try to look directly into the camera because it makes it seem like you're talking directly to them. Number 4, don't wear your pajamas. Look, we know everybody's at home doing these video interviews, but put on something nice. And I don't mean put on your daytime pajama onesies. I mean put on something like you would be wearing if you were interviewing in person. If you'd wear a business suit to interview in person, then put on a business suit to interview at home. If you're interviewing in Hawaii, well, then you'll probably be wearing aloha attire for your interview. Number 5, don't have a messy background. Okay, we all are at home, but that doesn't mean that you want to distract the interviewer with a bunch of messy stuff in the background. Many of these video conferencing apps have some sort of virtual background that you can use, so consider using some sort of virtual background that says something about you as the candidate, something that might be a conversation starter. If you like hiking, maybe consider a mountain that you've climbed, you're gonna climb. If you are applying for a job at a sake brewery, consider a background of some sake brewing. You might also want to stay away from, Taylor Swift. I know you might like Taylor Swift, but her album cover might not be the best virtual background for your video interview. The 6th don't is don't be in a noisy environment. If you've got a bunch of housemates, let your housemates know that you'll be interviewing. If you've got housemates that you can't talk to, like dogs and pets like that, and they don't understand, well then go find a bedroom and shut yourself in it. Try to make an environment that the interviewer just focuses on you and not a lot of background noise. If there is a lot of background noise, then definitely consider using the mute button so that you can mute out some of that noise when it goes by. Now, if you've got some kind of headset like this one here, or even a cheap one, one that comes with your phone, you know, that you put in your ear and has the microphone that hangs down right here. Consider using it for your video interview. Getting the microphone close to your mouth will give you better audio quality and will help pick up less of that background noise. The seventh mistake that people often make on video interviews is they often forget about body language. They're at home, they're on the sofa, they sit in a comfy place, and sitting like this makes you, the interviewer, think, I don't care because I'm slouching like this. Sit up straight. We all know you might be in an office chair and a sofa that has a back, but you want to sit forward like you're paying attention. You'll also want to use your hands because remember, hands are a significant part of body communication. And while the interviewer is talking to you and asking your questions, do your best to kind of nod along and pay attention like you're listening, that two-way conversation just like you were there in person. Don't number 8 is don't interrupt the interviewer. Now, in in-person conversations, we often interrupt the other person a lot of the time because that's conversation. They say something, you say something, you interject. Well, over video conferencing, it's really hard to do that because of the inherent latency or lag in the conversation. It might take a second or two for what you hear from them to get to you. You try to interject, but they're already 3 words later, so just don't do it. Let them naturally finish and get to the end of their statement or the question before you start to respond. Number 9, don't assume all your technology is gonna work. You know, if this is the first time you've done a video interview in a long time, don't assume your camera's gonna work, your microphone's gonna work, your headset's gonna work. Test that all out at least a day before. Many of these video conferencing software tools have ways that you can do a test call, other options, or try to call your friend. Make sure your camera works, make sure your microphone works, because, even worse than them not being able to see you is if they can't hear you. If you are using a laptop, charge it up, plug it in, even better. Same thing with your phone, make sure it's charged. If you're putting it on a stand, plug it in so that your phone doesn't die halfway through the interview. Don't number 10, don't be late for your video interview. You can't have excuses like traffic or my dog ate my homework. There are very few excuses for being late to a video interview. Now, how early should you arrive? Well, for in-person interviews, many of us often arrive 30 minutes early, 15 minutes early to make sure we can get there and park and get in the building. A video interview, if you're there that early, they'll be like, why are you sitting in this virtual room for so long? I would consider a good early to be about 3 minutes to a video interview. Everybody's clock is a little bit different, but if you get there about 3 minutes ahead of time, that gives you good time to just get in, make sure it works through any technical issues, and maybe even be there a minute or two before the interviewer. The interviewer is probably going to try to get there right on time, perhaps so that they don't have any awkward pre-interview chat, just like, okay, your interview starts at 10 a.m., I'm on at 10 a.m. So if you're there at 9:57, pretty perfect. And finally, the biggest mistake I see people make on video interviews is they just wing it and they tremendously under-prepare. They think the video interview is a human resources screen before they get to that in-person interview, but today the video interview is often the deciding interview. So put your heart into it, like it's the difference between you getting that job and not, because chances are it is the difference. So what do you need to do to prepare? Well, you need to prepare answers to common interview questions like, tell me about yourself. What's your biggest weakness? What's your biggest strength? Why do you want this job? You need to research the company. You need to research the position, and you need to have some questions for the interviewer. Now, one pro tip for delivering answers to some of those standard interview questions is if you've got some things that you want to make sure you say during the interview, like you want to make sure to tell the interviewer that you're really good at budgeting, well, consider writing it on a sticky note and then sticking it on your computer or your phone right next to the camera. So when you get that question, you can look at your sticky note that has some major points of the things you want to say, and they won't even know. Now, if you've heard some of those standard questions like, what's your biggest strength? What's your biggest weakness? And you've always said to yourself, gosh, I hate those questions. I never know what to say. Well, the good news is I have answers for you. You can check out this playlist right here for some videos I've put together on how to deliver good answers to some common interview questions. Or if you just want some generic advice on how to prepare for interviews, well then check out my interview preparation video right here. This one was written for in-person interviews, but everything here for preparation-wise applies to these. Well, as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in one of these videos.